Hey mamas, and welcome. In today's homeschool update, I have quite a few things to share with you, including our new morning binders, some curriculum updates, our new homeschool workflow, resources and books, and a few other things. So let's get right into it. First, let's talk resources and books. So I recently went with my mom to Home Goods, which is our favorite store, and this time around I scored two books that are from Pretty Books, Pretty Learning. I love that line of books. They're always so great and interactive. The first one is called My First Farm, and it's one that I am hoping to use with my son. It's got these reusable stickers on the top, and I forget what material it's made out of to make it reusable, but it's one that you can kind of peel off and put back at the top if you need to. So it'll take the child through some matching activities, some color matching specifically, and then some pattern activities. So some of these things are going to be a little bit challenging for him right now, but different ones like color matching are going to be very straightforward and easy for him to do. So I'm really excited about using this book with him. The next book is called Follow Me Fairy Tales, and it was really intriguing to me when I first saw it. It's a cute book where the child goes through a maze and they read the different texts that are laid out for them along the way. And so I just found it to be very interesting and tactile as a reading experience, particularly for my oldest daughter to maybe do with my middle daughter. In my most recent planning video, I talked a little bit about some of the books that my children are loving, and one of them is called The Little Blue Truck. This is one that my son is in love with right now. As you can see, he's a little too much in love with it, and he just kind of peeled off the cover. So I forget who this is written by, but it says it's illustrated by Jill McElmurray. Okay, let me try that again. Jill McElmurray. McElmurray. I can't read today, guys. It's a really sweet story about this little blue truck who goes along the way and says hi to all of the animals that are his friends, and he beeps at them, and it goes through the different animal sounds, which is great because that's something that I'm working with my toddler on a little bit. And then towards the middle of the book, you see this dump truck that just comes blaring through, honking and telling everybody to get out of the way, and is not sweet like the little blue truck. And then the dump truck finds himself in a ditch that he needs to get out of. So the little blue truck comes to rescue him, and the little blue truck gets stuck. So all of the animals come in to rescue him. And so it also ties into like working together. So the kindness theme and, teamwork theme are wrapped up in this story. Now here are some books that my girls are loving. So these books are all Disney themed, and this first one is called Disney Learning Reading Adventures. It's not something that I think is available anymore. This was a hand-me-down from my neighbors, but it's such a great beginning reader for children, and it's very repetitive. So I'll just give you an example. For this book called Safe, it's all about Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, and it says Aurora looks in the field, no baby swans, and then Flora looks in the bushes, no baby swans. Fauna looks in the tree, no baby swans. So it goes through, it follows a similar pattern and changes the names throughout the book. So it's easy for children to kind of catch on and read. And then next are some similar books. They're also hand-me-downs, but they're a little bit more challenging to read. So my oldest daughter has been going through these, and they actually came with a CD. So it's one of those CD read aloud, read along books, and I don't think that they sell these on anymore, to be quite honest. I think this is printed in 2006. So this is a while ago. But as you can see, the text is a lot more dense, and it goes through the different Disney stories. So for this one, it's just going through the whole Cinderella story. Now let's talk about curriculum. With my oldest daughter, I have recently picked up First Language Lessons for the Well-Trained Mind, which is a grammar curriculum. And I've explained this before, but it's one that we did use a year ago, and then we kind of put it to the side because we weren't feeling it. And then we have since picked it up again to study and do our grammar. This is something that I am finding to be very, very helpful now. And what I have been doing is doing some Montessori adaptations with it. For example, there was a lesson where we were talking about animals as a common noun and then a pet name as a proper noun. And I had these animals, I think they're like snow themed animals from Safari LTD, that we used to do this activity where she would sort the nouns based on common nouns, and then if she had named the animal, that would be a proper noun. And then there's an igloo in here, so we talked about how that is a non-living thing, and so that is still a noun, but it's not a living thing, whereas animals are a living thing, but they're all common nouns. So this is something that we were able to kind of do more of an extended activity based on what she was learning. And this is something that I plan to continue to do as we are going through this curriculum. The next curriculum that we introduced to my oldest daughter is Logic of English Foundations Level C. I love Logic of English. I talk about it and rave about it all the time. It's so interactive and engaging for children, and this level is no different. What sets this level apart from the other levels is the fact that it introduces chapter books, and it does it in a way that's very digestible and manageable for kids. When we do a chapter reading, it is not embedded into any of the lessons, but rather it's a lesson in and of itself, which I really love because it allows us to spend the necessary time we need to not only read the chapter, but to go through different reading comprehension questions, as well as identifying keywords from the chapter that will again help with the reading comprehension. As far as our daily workflow goes, there's just a few changes and tweaks that we have made in the month of January. So instead of doing a bunch of independent work first thing in the morning, we are going to be doing table work. And this work in particular is going to be some easy wins for my kids, but it's also going to help them practice a lot of the concepts that they're learning in reading and math. So I wanted to make sure that they have the time that they need to work through those foundational concepts, and then also incorporating that into our shelf work time, which is going to be after the table work. This shelf work is meant to be kind of like a Montessori inspired setup where the kids can grab their activity, get a little carpet that they can roll out and do their activity on, and once they're done, they just put it back on the shelf. Somewhere between doing shelf work and table work time, or maybe after the shelf work time, we're going to do a morning meeting / circle time. So this is something that we did at the beginning of our homeschooling journey, but I kind of let go of it because I just felt like I had to perform for my kids and I had to have everything perfect for them. But my oldest daughter expressed to me that she really wanted to bring it back just because she cherished that time as a family to gather in the morning. So I'm going to be doing that with my kids. I'm going to incorporate our morning binders, which I'll talk about in a little bit, as well as some singing and read alouds, things like that. So I'm looking forward to now adding that back into our schedule for the upcoming month. Now I want to share with you our plans for celebrating Black History Month. Right now, we don't focus on history as a subject of study in our homeschool, but I like the fact that we can take this particular month, this opportunity to celebrate Black voices and narratives. For this particular celebration, we are going to be focusing on Black artists and Black musicians. The reason why I wanted to do this is because my kids are really, really blossoming as far as their interests for visual art and music. So it's going to be a lot of fun for us to go through and talk about and study artists and musicians. We're also going to take trips to the library to pick up books about all the different people that we're studying, as well as some books about the time periods in which they lived. A couple of things that I'm hoping to do with the kids as far as activities is we're going to copy some of the visual art that the artists have made. And then for the musicians, we're going to play the music, we're going to dance to the music, we're going to study the music. And finally, I want the kids to write letters to these different people across history. And I want to guide them through how to ask questions as well as tell them how much they learned about them and how they've been inspired by them, things like that. So I'm really looking forward to all the different activities and books and things that we're going to do to celebrate Black History Month. I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around so I can show you each of the morning binders that I've created. And this is something that we're going to incorporate into our morning time, our circle time with the kids. These binders are for my middle daughter who is in kindergarten and then my oldest daughter who is in 1st/2nd grade. And I want to go through them with you to show their similarities, but also some of their differences based on their ages. In this first one, I have the calendar, which is in both of their binders. And the cool thing about this calendar is it's laminated and it has the Velcro pieces. So as we change out the month, they can take it off and put the new month on. And then as far as the days, what we're going to do is fill it out at the beginning of the month. And as each day passes, we just kind of take them off and put them in this pouch. And I also have the weather stuff in this pouch as well. So let's say today is Thursday the 27th. Yesterday was Wednesday the 26th. So we take off the 26th to show that today is the 27th, and then we look and see, oh, tomorrow's the 28th. So practicing, what date was yesterday, what date comes after that. And then the one thing that I missed for this printable was putting the year down on the bottom. So I just plan to put a piece of Velcro here and just put the year on the bottom, maybe like write it in or something like that. So I will include a new printable for you, though, that has the year on the bottom so that you can have your kids fill that out properly. All right, and then on this second page, we have the weather. And what I did was I kind of copied this, honestly, from a Carson DeLosa, I think that's the name of it, board that has all the different weather items and things like that. And so I kind of made it my own, and I printed out, again, laminated these sheets and they're Velcro. So as we're talking about the weather, the child will find the appropriate temperature and as far as how it feels outside, and then put it into place. And what's helpful and good about this is for my middle daughter, it helps her to kind of match up the words. So some of these she can read, but a lot of them she can't. So it kind of helps her to kind of make that connection with the words. And then same thing here, I have, it's windy, so we put windy there. So for my kindergartner, she's just going to write down today's temperature is and write the number here as well as the little degrees sign. And then she's also going to write the date at the top to show that Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, it was this temperature and it felt like this as far as the weather. All right, and then I have this little printout. This came from JDA's binder printables, and I will link a video to her binder flip through for you so you can see it and also access all the printables that she has. They're all free. And this one is just going over how many days are in each month. It's something that I know I had to memorize as a kid, and I sing this song every single time to help me remember. Anyone else do that? I'd love to know. Tell me in the comments. This next page has their feelings chart, and this is again something that I got for free. I will link that below. And basically it just has a 3x3 grid of different emojis to help the kids kind of figure out how they're feeling and talk through their emotions. And it's a great way to set up the kids to be very mindful about how they're feeling and how they navigate through their day. Very, very simple. And then the next page for my kindergartner is a money count sheet, right now, we're not doing too much with this. I just kind of introduced the concept that, a dime is worth 10 cents and then a penny is worth 1 cent each. So I just give her 1 10 and then I give her, a couple of pennies so she can count. This ties into what she's learning right now with place values and numbers 11 through 20. So this is just good practice for her to kind of, tie it into learning about money. And then this sheet is a map of the United States. And what we're going to do is I have flashcards that I will put up here in a moment. And we have information about each of the 50 states. And so each day we're going to talk about the 50 states. I guess this is kind of like a mini pseudo unit study, but we're going to start in the east and work our way across to the west and color in each of the states that we learn about from the flashcards. So that's a fun thing that we're going to do. And the first state we did was Delaware, because Delaware is the first state. And then in the rest of the binder, it just has different things that I want her to practice. So there's a right hand, left hand here. Then I have these the senses, the 5 senses for her to remember. And then on this page, we have tracing for the lowercase letters. And then on the following page for the uppercase letters, these are again from JDA's binder printable. Then numbers 0 through 10. And then 11 through 20, and then numbers out of order, which some of these things she may, not need to do at this point, but I just put them in there for now. And then a map of the world that includes all the continents and the oceans. And this sheet, which is her reference sheet for the money. And then last but not least, we have a map of the United States. So if the kids want to flip to this as we're studying the map, or as we're studying the states, they can do that. So for my oldest, same thing. We start with the calendar. She gets her own little pouch that has all of the little cutouts for her. The thing that's going to be different is she has this page that has a prompt to write the date. So she is going to write out the month, the ordinal number, the month, number, and year, and then the month, day, and year in numbers. So this is something that I'm going to have her try to do as often as she can. I'm not going to push her to do it every single day, but it's just good for her to practice as often as she can. And then we have the weather again, but for her sheet, I have her comparing yesterday's temperature to today's temperature. And then so she will write the greater than, less than, or equal sign in there. And then I want to have her set up an equation to figure out the difference in the temperature in degrees. Then same thing here, she has the days in each month sheet, and then the feelings chart. And then for her, she has a money count sheet, but also a time sheet. So she is getting into learning about time. So that is going to be helpful for her to practice in her binder every day. And then again, we have a map of the United States as we're studying the United States. After that, we have math facts. So she's fairly good with these. She does forget them from time to time, so I really want her to solidify these as we're getting into more complicated addition and subtraction problems. And so then she has number words. This is something else I want her to keep practicing. This is something I'm also going to include in my kindergartner's binder as well when I get around to it. Then we have numbers 1 through 100. And this is just a fun comparison chart. Again, these are all ones that I got from JDA's printable. So, this is something that you can always change out. I plan to change this out as well. But then we have fractions. So I'm going to have her take out this sheet and color in the different fractions so that she can remember what is what it looks like. And that'll be good for her to refer to when she needs to. Then she has the money again, followed by a map of the US, the continents, the oceans, and then a compass. Now I want to show you some changes that I've made to the homeschool space to help us move through our daily workflow. So this is the updated homeschool space, and I did just make a few changes, not too many, but I wanted to accommodate for our new daily homeschool workflow. So right here, I have the table that used to be in the other homeschool space, and I can show you that in a moment, but I moved this to this room so that the kids can just come down, and after they do their morning chores, they'll just sit at the table and do this morning work. So this is where I put all the easy win activities for them to do. And then they will transition over to here, which is their shelf work activities. So the idea is that once they finish their easy wins, their table work, they can put those away if they want to, or just keep it out, and then take this activity, whichever one they want to start with, then grab a little rug, which I have over here. This basket used to be under there where the map is, but I decided to move it here to kind of make it easier for them to grab their little rugs, roll it out, and do their shelf work. Now this area here is where I put the storage cart that was once where the little bookcase is, and it desperately needs some organization, so I think I might make a video about that in the future. But right now it's just housing some of the manipulatives and resources that we need for every day. But again, as you can see, it doesn't really have a rhyme or reason as far as organization goes. Then I have my son's Montessori shelves, which has not changed. But the idea with this whole kind of like space change is that all of us can be in the same room kind of at the same time so that we can do our work together and make sure we're holding each other accountable to getting that work done. In this space, I have this small table here, which is really easy to fold up and put away if we don't want it there, or just, move to a different spot in the room. And I have a few chairs here. The kids can pull up another chair if they want to. But I like to put out these little blank notebooks where they can do some art first thing in the morning. This is something that I did last year that we kind of like stopped, and I can't remember why. But I guess the girls stopped being interested in it, but they wanted to do it again. So I just leave this out for them with some crayons to do some coloring and artwork and sort of like journaling in the morning time. And then over here, I just have this whiteboard, and I've had it here for a long time, but what I decided to do was put up our calendar here so that we can keep track of the date, and also, that goes along with our morning time and our little weather stuff here. So this is a place where we can do all of our morning stuff. Then last but not least, I have these little baskets here that have a lot of my son's wipe and clean books that he can work on. The girls like to kind of pull them out occasionally and work on them too, just for fun. And then I have some puppets in here. So when we do our circle time, morning time, we can pull those out if we want to, if we're singing a song, and have that available for us. Thank you so much for joining me today, mamas. I truly hope that you found this video helpful. Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.